Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and today we're taking a look at the Stingray's little brother, the Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling. And we're going to compare it to the Stingray and go over what the differences are and what's the same. Well, let's check these basses out. This is a 2015 Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling, and next to it is my trusty 2017 Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray. The Sterling, which is the Stingray's little brother, has been around since the mid-90s, and though they may appear similar, there's a lot of different stuff going on under the hood here. For starters, the pickups are vastly different. Whereas the Stingray has a standard humbucker, the Sterling is actually a 3-coil, which is a humbucker with a phantom coil. And that is paired to this 3-way selector switch. And that gives you the option of running this pickup in series, parallel, or single coil, paired with the phantom coil to eliminate any sort of buzz. One other big difference is that the humbucker in this pickup is actually a ceramic humbucker, as opposed to the Alnico humbucker that is in the Stingray. So the Sterling has a ceramic humbucker, the Stingray has an Alnico humbucker. Both of these basses feature 3-band preamps, though the Sterling's preamp is a different preamp from the Stingray's. They're both 3-band though. Now you'll notice that the Stingray has a control plate out front, but the Sterling does not have a control plate. That's because it is rear routed. The control cavity is accessible from behind, and we'll go over that when we turn both basses around. The bridge design on both the Sterling and the Stingray is exactly the same, though on the Stingray Special they did upgrade to the lighter bridge. The current generation Sterling, which is you can still buy new and still order new, retains this old bridge design. The Sterling body itself is much smaller than that of the Stingray, much more compact, much more ergonomic, more akin to that of a jazz bass, where you would almost compare the Stingray to like a precision bass in terms of how it feels. Now let's move on to the necks. Both basses feature maple necks, and in this case, maple fretboards. The Stingray has a 21 fret fingerboard, and the Sterling has a 22 fret fingerboard. Now keep in mind, the current Stingray Special has a 22 fret fingerboard as well, and a very similar neck heel design. We're going to go over that when we flip these basses over in just a second. The neck profile of these basses is very, very different. The Stingray maintains the classic 41.3mm nut width, where the Sterling has, I believe, a 38mm, and the neck profile is more akin to that of a jazz bass. Moving on to the headstocks, both headstocks are similar shaped, though the Sterling headstock is much smaller. They are using the same kind of tuning machines, and even the brand new Sterlings are still using the old style tuning mechanism, whereas the Stingray Specials are using the brand new lightweight tuning keys. Now let's go ahead and flip these basses over real quick. So I brought over my Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray Special just to show the similarities between the neck joint on the Stingray Special and that on the Sterling versus the original Stingray. And as you can see, the original Stingray is using a 6-bolt neck joint, whereas the Sterling and the Stingray Special here are using 5-bolt. The heel on the Sterling as well as on the Stingray Special is a lot more ergonomic and gives you a lot easier access to the upper frets, whereas the Stingray bass is relatively unchanged from the original design, minus some additional contouring. Now both basses here are 9-volt preamp basses, but you can see that the Sterling does have a rear cavity cover because that's the only way you can really access the electronics, whereas the Stingray does not have the rear cavity cover because you're going in through the control plate on the front. Same goes for the Stingray Special, except you do have an 18-volt preamp here. Be sure to check out my Stingray versus Stingray Special video going over the differences between the Stingray Special and the original Stingray. Next, let's check out what these basses sound like. You guys know what you need to do. Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. Thanks. not bad at all. So already you notice a big difference with this bass just sitting in the lap. It's a lot different of an experience versus a Stingray, which is a bit bulkier. The slimmer neck is also a different experience as well versus a Stingray, which has a 41.3 millimeter nut width. This is much more akin to that of a jazz bass. Now what you just heard was the pickup in parallel, so similar to that of the Stingray. However, this is a completely different pickup. Hi, meow. So what you just heard was this bass set up in parallel with the EQ centered. So similar to the Stingray configuration. However, you do also have a single coil with phantom coil to cancel out any noise and a series configuration. Hi. Yes, I know, it's so exciting. So exciting that you're gonna lick me. Now, even though the configuration is similar, the pickup itself is very different and the preamp is voiced in a completely different way. So this is gonna sound completely different from the Stingray. I'm also using the strings that this thing came with. I haven't had a chance to restring it yet. I'm gonna be doing a separate video that's more of a deep dive of this particular instrument, and we'll have some fresh MJC Ironworks nickel-plated stainless steel strings on there. 45 to 105 gauge. This thing's good though. This thing plays good, sounds good. Let's go ahead and set the pickup to series. Man. And let's go ahead and check out the single coil mode. Now let's go ahead and set it back to parallel and cut the preamp. See what that sounds like real quick. Now I'm going to go ahead and center the bass, bring the mids up to about half cut and the treble to about half cut. I got a little carried away there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and center the preamp, and we're going to play the same riff in all three pickup configurations and with our Stingray, so you can hear the difference. I know it's not really apples to apples because we got different strings on here. That's going to be changed real soon, and we'll bring the Stingray back into the fold when we take a deeper dive into the Sterling. That'll be a future video, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. So here's the preamp centered. We're going to go through all 3 pickup configurations, and I'm going to pop a clip of the Stingray in the same configuration, preamp centered, just so you can hear the difference. I'm going to pop that in after every single clip. Finally, let's go ahead and slap this thing a little bit. So I think that pretty much does it. I think we covered in pretty good detail what the differences are between the Music Man Sterling, not to be confused with Sterling by Music Man, which is a separate brand. Don't ask me why, I don't know. And the Music Man Stingray. Now the Sterling, though less popular, I think is a pretty great instrument. Some people, I think, go into this thinking that they're going to be getting just a smaller Stingray, and that's really not the case. As the electronics, the pickup, the preamp, the overall build of everything is completely different. The instrument itself has a completely different feel, and it's going to sound pretty different. This thing has some bite and some punch, but it is not a Stingray by any means, and going into it expecting that you're getting a Stingray, you're going to be disappointed. However, this is a fun instrument, so I'm going to be doing a full comprehensive review on the Music Man Sterling, this being a 2015 model that does not feature the roasted maple neck and the stainless steel frets of the newer models. In that video, we'll feature this thing restrung with some fresh strings, and we'll be going over everything in some more detail. But for now, I hope this video is at least helpful to some people in describing the differences between the Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling and the Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray bass. Go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about these basses. If you've owned them, let me know what you think of them. Always nice to hear some feedback from other people who have owned similar instruments, and I think other viewers and commenters appreciate that as well, so keep it up. And other than that, I think that does it. Okay, thanks guys, bye. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about the Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling, as well as my Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray. And as always, until we groove again,